Welcome once again to the vlog. I am your host. Today, we're going to be talking about the third episode of Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. But before we get to that, we have to talk about something related to the almighty algorithm. So, who is searching for this and why? Number one, we have Rings of Power. Okay, that makes sense. Then something inappropriate. I'm a little confused as to why that would be one of the top searches, but oh yeah. Well, hopefully they were pleasantly surprised and not mortified. With episode 3, I'll be including some spoilers because I assume you've already watched it and want to see what someone else thinks, or you just want to know what's going on. Speaking of which, I got my girlfriend to watch with me, and she was just as confused as I was about the whole thing. Neither one of us are really Tolkien fans. She watched one of the movies, I read The Hobbit, so maybe we're not the best metric here. If you don't want any spoilers, watch my review of episodes 1 and 2, and I'll be including it in my description. So, last warning, I'll be briefly recapping what happened in episode 3 during this review. The first two episodes suffered with a complete lack of focus, going from place to place and introducing new characters without really explaining who they are or why they're important. In episode 3, they decided to do more of that by introducing even more new characters, new locations, and hopping from place to place without doing a good job of introducing anyone. I think they could have really benefited from an editor. Let's just pick someone and focus on them the whole episode and get people invested in the character before moving on to a new one. We're about a third way through the season, and I still don't care about anyone, with one exception, the princess. She's clearly the best character. She's nowhere to be found in episode 3, but hopefully that's because she's escaped to a better show. Instead, they introduce a new queen of some island and her cool hat. With episode 3, it starts with Commander Spock getting captured by some lizard vampire people who force a bunch of other people into slavery to dig a tunnel. It skips around a whole bunch, but basically they fight back against the lizard people. A couple of random Vulcans die, and then Spock gets beat up. This whole thing is told in bits and pieces over a period of 70 minutes. Then we skip to the robot lady. No, not that robot lady. Dolores is awesome. She's a great robo lady character. The other one, the blonde robot lady. Hey, that's Android 18, not Android 18. She's a great character. The one who looks like she could be Princess Zelda's sister. There she is. I guess I should try to know their names. I'll go to the website to look things up a bit. Okay, all right. Okay, it's Gladreal. Well, in the last episode, she was stranded at sea with some other guy. They get taken to some island that's like some sort of advanced human place. So the ship's captain comes off as a bit of a jerk, but apparently he has a thing for elves. Anyway, he gets her to go to a special place and he shows off his library with a bunch of elf books. She also has a big thing for big, dramatic pauses. The other guy, who is named Halbrand, apparently likes to steal things. So he steals Galandril's dagger back to give it back to her, and then he steals from some other guy who brings his friends to beat him up. Halbrand is apparently a really good fighter, so he easily kicks their butts and gets thrown in jail or something. Galandriel visits him and suggests they team up to find that evil guy with the cool hat. The captain guy who likes elves is named Alandril. His story is kind of boring. Something about his kids or whatever. However, the way they introduced his kids was really weird. Their introduction made it seem like they were boyfriend and girlfriend, not brother and sister. I think that's the most notable thing about them. The last storyline this episode had to do with the Harfoots. They are little nomad people. Nori is the one who found the half naked fire guy in the woods, and her dad broke his foot. So he's probably going to get left behind, or in other words, left for dead. I guess that's just what they do. Anyway, so the fire guy accidentally gets discovered by her people, and her family is relegated to the end of the caravan, which means almost certain doom. The fire guy says he's their friend, so he pulls their tiny wagon, which is saving Nori and her family. So these are all the basic stories, but what's so weird is that they just keep skipping around without rhyme or reason. They're not difficult stories, and they don't naturally intercede, so I don't see why they couldn't have just started with one episode about the blonde lady, then go to the next important character. Better yet, maybe they could have just picked one central character and centered the story around that character. I'm not saying that a show can't do more than that, but the way this thing has been written, I just have no confidence in this team. They just really needed to keep it simple, and they tried to make it overly complicated. Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, is about introducing new characters and cutting away from them before we can get invested in them. The cinematography is great, but it seems like they spent all the budget on making the show look good without giving much thought to the actual story. Episode 3 isn't any better or worse than the last two episodes, it's just more of the same. I want to thank you for watching my review. I guess I'll keep watching just to see if anything happens. I'm watching this so you don't have to. After this series is over, I think I'll finally watch one of these movies. They can't be as bad as this, can they? So, what do you guys think? Did you like episode 3? Should I stop watching this and start reading the books or watching one of the films? I am really doing my best to give this show a proper chance here. So thanks again, and I hope you have a wonderful day.